Captain Jay Baker, a spokesperson for the Cherokee County, Georgia Sheriff's Office, is not having a good day. In fact, you could say that he's having a bad day. Now, the references, of course, is that in a recent press conference, he characterized another person as having a bad day. This is Robert Aaron Long, who was the Atlanta shooter. And this was a shooting that happened at a series of Asian spas on Tuesday. And he said that that person was having, he was just having a very bad day. In fact, you know what? Let me play that for you.
With investigators, they interviewed him this morning, and they got that impression that, yes, he understood the gravity of it, and he was pretty much fed up and kind of at the end of his rope, and yesterday was a really bad day for him, and this is what he did.
Remorseful?
I'm not going to go to, I don't know if he was remorseful or not.
All right. Now, a lot of people, after that clip had surfaced, were wondering why this man seemed to identify with Long much more than he did with the victims of the shooting, victims of the killings. It seems, like I said, a rather strange thing to say about someone who actually ended up doing something incredibly horrific. Well, unfortunately, a lot of you were saying, well, he's racist. Well, you were right. This is according to the Daily Beast. Now, they found that Baker has a history of racist anti-Asian content on social media. Shocker. Because of course he does. In fact, in a Facebook page associated with Captain Jay Baker, the Cherokee Sheriff's Office, several photos show the law enforcer was promoting t-shirts with the slogan, COVID-19 imported virus from China, reported Pilar Menendez and William Brederman. Place your order while they last, Baker wrote with a smiley face and another photo that included the racist t-shirts. The photos on Baker's account were first spotted by a Twitter user. Twitter detectives doing the Lord's work out there, let me tell you. So let me show you these images here. Let me show you these photos. So, all right. That was the person that pointed out, hey, this you? I always love that. I love that call out. And that's, of course, his account spreading those racist t-shirts about COVID. Yep, tying it to Asian people and blaming them for, what happened, the coronavirus. So, that appears to be him and appears to be incredibly problematic and actually explains a lot. I hate to say that I'm not surprised, but I'm not. Of course, someone like this is in law enforcement. And of course, he'll empathize with a white shooter over victims if they happen to be a member of another race, in this case, Asian. In fact, according to a report in The Guardian, a lot of Asian people have suffered a lot of hate attacks as a result of the coronavirus. Especially women and older Asian Americans have been targeted in a wave of incidents ranging from first verbal assaults to then brutal attacks. An example of that is back in January, an 84-year-old Asian woman was fatally attacked in the streets of San Francisco. So, we've seen the videos of people yelling racial slurs at Asian Americans. And according to the National Asian Pacific American Women's Forum, who conducted a soon-to-be-published survey, they found that about 50% of Chinese American women in the sample, and I'm not sure how big that sample size is. We'll have to look into that when that study comes out. But they took a sample, and they found that a lot of women had experienced racial slurs in public, which rose to about 64% of Korean American women. Well, of course. I mean, this, of course, is a result of fear and ignorance of the coronavirus that has been weaponized by white nationalists in order to encourage discrimination, discourage immigration, and, basically further the political cause of basically making a white ethno-state. That's what it is. And unfortunately, this isn't new in America. We've had anti-Asian sentiment throughout various periods of our nation's history. For example, you can go back to direct discrimination against the Chinese in the 1800s, where Chinese laborers that built the railroads were banned from the country. And so, I mean, again, this is an example of something that has always happened in this country, and yet we seem to forget our history a lot. I wonder if conservatives have something to do with that. Weird. But all right. Now, look, what doesn't help at all is the blatant fear-mongering about China. And this comes from both Democrats and Republicans, by the way. Look, I think the government of China, I don't like the government of China. Sorry, tankies. Not a fan, okay? They get a lot of issues. There's a lot of problems, especially what they're doing with the Uyghur Muslim population, or the Uyghur Muslims. But look, the conspiracy theories about COVID are absolutely unhinged. There's no basis in reality for all this stuff. All right. And not only are they unhinged, but they're also actually incredibly dangerous. Again, Asian people, Chinese people are not coming over to give you the virus. Okay. You're actually much more likely to get COVID from an anti-mask conservative. I'm just saying, racism is stupid and ignorant. It just is. Okay. It just is. But look, it's likely that race didn't even play a factor into the shooting. And honestly, we don't necessarily know. Again, there were the reports that he was sexually frustrated. Oh, and I'm not saying race didn't play a factor in this. It could be a confluence of many different factors, including racism, including misogyny, including fundamentalist religious beliefs. I don't necessarily know how much each really factors into it. Okay. It could be one of those people who were the incels, or part of the no-fap movement or whatever. But again, for me personally, I don't know if I really care too much about the reason, insofar as I don't know if we can fix this kind of thing or these kind of people. We already know that racists exist. We already know that fundamentalism exists. We already know that incels exist. We should work on, making sure that that we can deprogram these people before they do violence. Okay. We need to stop those ideologies. We need to stop people from falling into those pipelines and becoming violent. But as far as the police officer is concerned, he's got no business being in law enforcement. I'm sorry if that's controversial, but I don't think racist people should be cops. I mean, if he doesn't give a damn about the people that he is supposed to serve, which is supposed to be everybody, black, white, Asian, whatever, doesn't matter. If you hold racist views, then you're not fit for that job. I realize that that's going to cause, a lot of people to not be police officers. I realize that. And you know what? That's good, because we shouldn't have racist police. You can't serve those communities. And if you're a racist, and if you are, you need to find another job. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like and share with your friends. You can subscribe and help out the channel by becoming a patron. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf, or you can become a channel member as well by hitting the join button below.